Welcome back to Jay's Retro Toys and Games, the channel where the past comes alive through the story of the consoles, cartridges, and characters that shaped gaming history. Today's feature is a deep, multi-chapter exploration of one of the most ambitious and misunderstood consoles ever made, the 3DO, Interactive Multiplayer. Released in 1993, the 3DO promised to revolutionize gaming with cutting-edge technology, a bold licensing model, and a vision that aimed to merge video games with the multimedia feature. Yet, despite its innovation, it became one of the most infamous commercial failures in gaming history. This documentary unpacks the full story from its conception and launch to its downfall and legacy. All of this on Jay's Retro Toys and Games. Episode 86 is upon us on this Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, 9 days away to Christmas. I'm your host, Jason DeCanio, welcoming you to another episode of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. Let's take a look at 3DO. In the early 1990s, the gaming world was dominated by 16-bit giants, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and the Sega Genesis. The industry was booming, but the winds of change were blowing. CD-ROM technology was emerging, offering massive storage capacities compared to cartridges. Developers dreamed of full-motion video, CD-quality sound, and cinematic storytelling. Trip Hawkins, founder of Electronic Arts, saw this as the next frontier. Having already revolutionized the software side of gaming, Hawkins wanted to reshape the hardware landscape. He envisioned a console that would serve as a universal platform, one that any manufacturer could produce and any developer could create for without the restrictive licensing of Nintendo or Sega. In 1991, Hawkins found the 3DO company. His idea was radical. Instead of building and selling consoles, the 3DO company would design the technology and license it to hardware manufacturers. This model mirrored the VHS and DVD industries, where multiple companies produced compatible devices. It was a bold, business-savvy move that promised to democratize gaming hardware. The 3DO was designed to be the most advanced console of its time. Its 32-bit ARM60 RISC processor, custom graphic chips, and CD-ROM drive allowed for unprecedented performance. It could display over 16 million colors, render 3D graphics in real time, and play full-motion video with stereo sound. The console's architecture was open and flexible, allowing developers to experiment with multimedia applications beyond gaming. It could play photo CDs, educational software, and even interactive movies. The 3DO was marketed not just as a gaming console, but as a complete home entertainment system, a multimedia hub for the digital age. Panasonic, Sanyo, and Goldstar, now LG, were among the first to license the technology. Panasonic's FC1 model became the flagship version, featuring a sleek, futuristic design and a front-loading CD tray that looked more like a high-end stereo component than a toy. The 3DO launched in North America in October of 1993 with a retail price of $699.99. It was marketed as a luxury entertainment system, not just a gaming console. Early advertisements emphasized its multimedia capabilities, positioning it as a device for the entire family. The launch lineup included Crash and Burn, Road Rash, and Mad Dog McCree. Reviewers praised the console's graphics and sound, calling it a glimpse into the future. Magazines like Next Generation and GamePro hailed it as a technological marvel. However, the price tag was a major obstacle. And while the 3DO offered cutting-edge performance, few consumers were willing to pay nearly $700 when the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were available for less than half that price. The 3DO's marketing struggled to justify its cost, and its appeal remained limited to early adopters and tech enthusiasts. Despite its commercial struggles, the 3DO developed a surprisingly rich and diverse library. Developers were drawn to its open architecture and powerful hardware, which allowed for creative experimentation. The Need for Speed made its debut on the 3DO, offering realistic driving physics and cinematic replays that set a new standard for racing games. Gex, that's Gex, featuring the wisecracking Gecko voiced by comedian Dana Gould, became the console's unofficial mascot. Returned Fire delivered intense multiplayer action, while Star Control 2 offered deep storytelling and exploration. The 3DO became known for its full-motion videos, such as Night Trap, Corpse Killer, and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. These games showcased the novelty of interactive movies, but often suffered from poor gameplay and awkward acting. And while they demonstrated the console's multimedia potential, they also became symbols of its excesses. The 3DO's licensing model, while innovative, proved to be its Achilles heel. By allowing multiple manufacturers to produce the console, the 3DO company lost control over pricing. Panasonic's high production costs forced the retail price to remain steep, alienating consumers. Additionally, the 3DO company charged developers high licensing fees similar to those imposed by Nintendo and Sega. This discouraged smaller studios from creating games for the platform, and without strong first-party support or exclusive titles, the 3DO struggled to build a compelling library that could justify its price. Retailers were hesitant to stock the console in large quantities, and marketing efforts failed to communicate its advantages to mainstream audiences. The 3DO's image as a rich man's console stuck, and sales stagnated. By 1994, the gaming landscape was shifting rapidly. Sega's Saturn and Sony's PlayStation were preparing to launch, both offering 32-bit power and CD-ROM technology at significantly lower prices. Sony in particular positioned the PlayStation as a developer-friendly platform with aggressive pricing and strong third-party support. When the PlayStation launched in 1995 at $299, it instantly made the 3DO look outdated and overpriced. Developers flocked to Sony's platform, and consumers followed. The 3DO's once impressive specs were quickly overshadowed by the PlayStation's superior 3D capabilities and massive marketing push. By 1995, the 3DO sales had plummeted. Panasonic released a redesigned model, the FZ10, at a lower price, but it was too late. The console's reputation had already been tarnished. In a last-ditch effort to stay relevant, the 3DO company began developing a successor, the M2, and the M2 promised even greater performance with dual-power PC processors and advanced 3D rendering capabilities. Early demos impressed industry insiders, but the project was ultimately canceled before release. Panasonic, which had acquired the rights, decided to abandon the console market altogether. After the failure of the 3DO hardware, the 3DO company pivoted to software development. The company produced several successful titles in the late 90s, including Army Men and Might and Magic spin-offs. However, the company never fully recovered from its hardware losses and eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2003. Trip Hawkins went on to pursue other ventures in digital entertainment, but the 3DO remained a defining chapter in his career, a bold experiment that pushed the boundaries of what a console could be. Though the 3DO failed commercially, its influence on gaming history is undeniable. It pioneered ideas that would later become industry standards: CD-based media, open licensing, and multimedia integration. It also helped launch franchises and developers that would shape the future of gaming. The 3DO's emphasis on cinematic presentation foreshadowed the storytelling focus of modern games. Its open architecture inspired later platforms to adopt more flexible development environments, and its bold vision of a multimedia console anticipated the convergence of gaming, film, and music that defines today's entertainment systems. Today, the 3DO has become a prized collectible among retro gaming enthusiasts. Its sleek design, unique library, and historical significance make it a fascinating piece of gaming history. Emulators and preservation projects have helped keep its legacy alive, allowing new generations to experience its groundbreaking, if flawed, vision. Collectors often seek out rare titles like Lucien's Quest, D, and Dr. Hauser, which shows the console's technical capabilities and creative diversity. The 3DO community continues to thrive online, sharing knowledge, restoring hardware, and celebrating the console's place in gaming's evolutionary timeline. The story of the 3DO offers valuable lessons about innovation, timing, and market strategy. It demonstrates that technological superiority alone is not enough to guarantee success. Pricing, marketing, and developer support are equally critical. The 3DO's failure also highlights the risks of being too far ahead of the curve. Its multimedia ambitions anticipated the future, but the market wasn't ready. Consumers wanted affordable, accessible gaming, not a luxury entertainment system. And yet, the 3DO's spirit of experimentation continues to inspire. It reminds the industry that progress often comes from bold ideas, even when they fail. As the credits roll on in this episode of Jay's Retro Toys and Games, the 3DO stands as a monument to ambition and innovation. It was a console that dared to dream big, to challenge conventions, and to imagine a future where games were more than just play, they were experiences. And though it stumbled, the 3DO's legacy endures in every console that followed. Its vision of multimedia integration, open development, and cinematic storytelling paved the way for the modern gaming landscape. The 3DO may not have won the console wars, but it earned a place as one of gaming's most fascinating what-ifs. I'm Jason Icanio, thanking you very much for another great show. We'll see you the next time to look at another great retro console in our Look at Console Wars right here on Jay's All TV channel and, of course, Jay's Retro Toys and Games. We'll see you the next time. Bye for now.